Lines are still open here on Titans Talk, 737-7767. But let's get into some of the keys to the game of this Titans 24-22 victory over the Raiders at Nissan Stadium as they improved to 1-2 on the season. Jay Hutt now with those keys.
Back with Jonathan Hutton from my favorite part of the show as we break it down, his keys to the game. And you have to start, Jay Hutt, with a fast start for an 0-2 Titans team that came out determined to change their fortunes on offense.
They win the toss, they elect to receive, and they went right to work. A touchdown to begin, and they got Henry involved in the passing game. We didn't see the explosive plays in Buffalo. There were plenty of those throughout the first half. Robert Woods hauled in a 41-yard gain, the longest play of the young season so far for the Titans offense. They hit on 4 plays of 20 yards or more today against the Raiders, and now they've got to find consistency throughout 4 quarters.
Yeah, almost came back to haunt them today, but they just have to carry some of that offense into the second half after being shut out again. But fortunately, the defense bent, but they did not break today, coming up with the big 4 red zone stops.
And that doesn't even count the final stop on the 2-point conversion. This game looked like a 7-on-7 scrimmage early on, honestly. The Titans defense found the necessary stops in the big moments, though, throughout. The Raiders scored 10 points and had 115 yards on their first 2 drives. After that, 3 punts, a field goal, and an interception before Vegas's final 2 possessions. They allowed just 2 plays of 20 yards or more. They forced the Raiders to drive the field and earn the yards, and the Raiders kept stalling out. This defense has plenty of questions, but today was a good job from the defense missing key pieces against an offense full of game-breaking weapons.
Still feels weird to call them the Las Vegas Raiders, doesn't it?
Yes.
You're going to hear this a lot on the show tonight. A win is a win.
Yeah, one of the biggest positives yesterday was the defense coming up with some of those critical stops in the second half, and frankly coming up with the play it had to have on the 2-point conversion late. They couldn't do that in week 1, and that has been one of the hallmarks again of the John Robinson era, but certainly the Mike Vrabel era with the Titans, that these players, when the chips are on the table and push comes to shove, have more times than not come up with the goods. Titans haven't lost a ton of close games. Last year, we talked about this, that was what was so surprising about the Giants' loss, is last year the Titans were 6-1 in games decided by 3 points or less. When it was tight, they came up with the play that they had to have. And so it was stunning to see them not do that in week 1. Yesterday, they came up with the play, and they won another one of those games decided by 3 points or less. So 1-1 in that category so far this year. Back to the phones we go. And I'm sorry, Emily, who is this? Wayne. Wayne, good evening. Welcome to Titans Talk. Sorry about that.
No. Hello, I think you're doing a good job report the facts. You don't miss words. You report the facts, and that's why people like you, Steve, because you updated and you cover what you're saying. And what I want to say about them Titans, I talked to you about a week ago about this other game. They started getting conservative, calling all these trick plays, trying to throw the defense off. Just keep on doing what's working. You can't just jump off one chapter to the next. I mean, even though they can't stop you if your offense line is blocking doing what you're supposed to and you're at home, you can't be playing all to start being conservative and throwing all them more mixed plays. And especially if you don't got the line to cover that, the season is going to get harder, Steve, because them teams going to start gelling, and if they're going to start clicking and gelling, you got trouble. You got trouble then. If you ain't got it together by then, about the 5th or 6th games, you got trouble, because that's when they really start gelling and start panicking, because they know the season is going down the drain, and they're trying to make that quarter in Super Bowl. The Titans is just trying to get past the year because they know they got to do a whole bunch of big contracts, the Simmons and all them, and they ain't gonna give them that money. They're gonna trade them off, get rid of them, because they don't want to give them the money. That's their MO every time. But I appreciate you commenting on this being conservative. And I don't even think they'll ever pull Tannehill out of the game, period. Bill Parcells, he used to pull Phil Simms out of that game in a heartbeat. He started throwing the ball crazy and interception, getting on the bench. You might argue and raise hell, but you're getting on that bench. He's not playing. And he ain't going to give you all them second chances either, because he wants to win the ball game. And that's why the coach better start thinking about the Titans. If you want to win the game, I don't care if it hurts somebody's feeling or not. You got to pull them out. You're throwing them interceptions in the crowded players. Thank you, Steve, for listening.
Yeah, Wayne, thanks for the call. The problem with that with Tannehill is I don't know who you put in. Tannehill is not nearly the top of the list of issues with this offense at the moment. Yes, he's turned the ball over. Yes, it was a big miscommunication between him and Robert Woods yesterday that led to the interception. But for the most part yesterday, he was pretty much on the money. Working behind an offensive line that was a little bit better yesterday and some pass catchers that are certainly unproven in Titans uniforms. But the problem is the guy behind him, Malik Willis, is not ready for this moment. And we saw that last week when he got in and played 3 series in Buffalo. He was not ready. And so if you think that pulling Tannehill at the first sign of trouble is going to lead to something better, I don't think that's likely to happen. And so I think he's got a long leash as long as this season remains one in which the Titans believe that they can compete in the division and compete for a playoff spot. They have to find a way to find some more consistency within the offense. Yesterday was a stride to do it for an entire half, but they've got to find a way to do it in the second half. I thought in the first half the play calling was very good. I thought they changed up formations. I thought they took what the defense gave them. I thought they had some creativity. I thought they played in front of the chains, which allowed them to pretty much stay within the offense of everything they wanted to do in the playbook. Second half, they weren't able to do it as much. First down wasn't quite as good. Meant this, you weren't in the place to have the entire playbook at your disposal. And that's where the Titans have to be. They need to find themselves in 3rd and short this year because they don't have wide receivers, for the most part, that are just going to simply win one-on-one matchups and get open for you. A.J. Brown could bail you out. That 49ers game last December, Titans didn't have a whole lot going. And A.J. Brown would just make a 3rd down play. It would be 3rd and 12, and he'd just go get open and catch the ball and continue the drive. The Titans don't have that guy on this roster. And so they have to be much better collectively. We saw a little bit of that in the first half. We didn't see any of it in the second half. And you talk about teams gelling. That's the hope if you're the Titans right now. At the moment, this is not a team full of stars. It's got Derrick Henry. And it's got some studs on the defense. But when you look at the offense in particular and the production, you're talking about a unit that has to gel together. And if they do, I think the style and the system is there that they can have a good season, that they can compete in the AFC South, that they can get back to the playoffs. But it's going to take them gelling together and playing at a much higher level consistently than we've seen at any point through the first 3 weeks of this season. And to Wayne's point, the other teams are going to get better too. So the question is, you look at the AFC South right now, can Jacksonville gel? Year 2 of Trevor Lawrence with that roster, with the new coach in Doug Peterson, they look pretty good so far. Can they continue to gel and find that next level? Can the Colts, who've been a bit of a mess but got a break yesterday against the Chiefs, can they find that level with Matt Ryan? Can the Titans do it? I don't think the Texans will. But teams will do that. You will find that over the next month, that certain teams around the NFL start to find that next level. Start to find consistent success in their game. And that is the challenge for this Titans team now. It hasn't been pretty through 3 weeks. Now is the time, as we turn the calendar towards October, that you have to start finding that with more consistency. That you have to find a winning level week in and week out. Back to the phone, say hello to Kevin. Kevin, what's going on?
Always good to talk to you, Steve. First of all, what a great game. I mean, if you're a football fan and you want to see a competitive game, that's the game you want to see where, keeps you on the edge of the seat. Can't ask for much more than that. I thought Titans played a good first half, probably the best first half they played, but I still haven't seen them play a second half, which is kind of going to be an issue. I'm sure a lot of the stuff has been brought up early in the program. Normally I show up after halftime to your program. But there's a few things that maybe I can figure out that maybe other people didn't bring out. This could have been an easy loss for the Titans had it not been for some big penalties by the Raiders. There was a third down play where there was a completion. They could have had a first and goal at the 2. However, a holding penalty brought that thing back, and I think there might have been a delay of game right after that might have held them to a field goal attempt. And there was a couple other penalties by the Raiders that took them out of first and goal, third and goal, where they had to kick a field goal. This game could have got really, really bad really, really quick in the second quarter. I don't know who this guy Mitchell is, but he probably won't be a Titan for long. You let a guy get behind you on 4th and 15 and then give up a touchdown a little while after that's not good football. But I guess that they just signed him. I think the announcers on the program said they signed him Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
But you know, the Titans D did all right. I mean, they gave up some big chunks, and I don't know who that guy is. The Raiders receiver who just had a monster game, but that's a big dude. I was looking at him in the huddle, and I'm like, oh my God, he's a monster. And congratulations to him. I'm sure he had a career day. I think his name was Morrow, I think.
Well, Morrow had a great game, but Mac Hollins is the guy who caught the touchdown at the end, who did have a career day with 8 catches for 158 yards.
Maybe my bad. Maybe my perception was wrong on that. But my point is that the Titans are playing okay. I mean, it was good to see Henry get his chunks. Maybe didn't get 100 yards, but he did contribute, which he hasn't in the first couple of weeks. Doesn't mean from lack of effort. It just means situations didn't really work out. Last week, I just kind of scratched that game off my chalkboard because that was just I don't even remember who they played last week, even though, of course, I do. And I was very proud to see Kevin get that interception in his 100th game. You know, you get a milestone pick and a milestone game. You know, every player wants to get 100 games under their belt. And but I thought in the fourth quarter, why do you not punt on 4th and 4 at midfield? That's the call of the game that I didn't understand why the Titans went for it on 4th and 4. Maybe they had a scheme. I thought when they lined up, I really thought they were going with hard count to try and draw them off sides. But apparently that was not the issue.
Yeah, I haven't heard a good answer for that yet, but I sort of alluded to it earlier in the program, is that I think because there wasn't much going in the second half offensively, that was a moment where Mike Vrabel wanted to give his team a jolt and say, we're going to go for this, we're going to get the first down, we're going to get points on this drive, and we're going to put the game away right here. Obviously, if it works and you do that, you look like a genius. You don't, you leave yourself for second guessing. But I think that was a moment when Mike Vrabel knew that this team has struggled in the second half. They were struggling again yesterday, and he felt it was a moment that they needed to make a play to turn their fortunes around, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen.
I feel that that's a proper analysis. I can respect your opinion on that. And maybe it was his mentality. Lord knows I'm not a head football coach in the NFL and never will be. But there's a couple things that happened in the process of the game, late in the game. Now, when the Raiders were driving late in the game, there was a injury to Fulton. And they took quite a long time. You know, I think they even had a TV timeout during that. But that had to give the defensive line some time to rest. And I think there was like $1:22 left in the game at that point. And it must have at least helped the defensive coach to come in there and say, hey, guys, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to look for. I mean, you're getting to this point in the season where I ain't going to say you're almost 25% of the way through, but you've seen enough tape on teams to where you know pretty much what their plays are, you know their tendencies, and you're not really going to fool anybody anymore, especially after like week 6 or 7. Every team keeps a play or two in their pocket, that maybe a 2-point conversion play or a short yardage play, a quick pass that you haven't shown the opponents, which every team does. But I'm just glad the 24-22 win came against a team that, honestly, the Raiders fought hard, and you can't knock them. Carr's a good quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback, and he did everything he could to lead his team back. And I'm just happy that the Titans won. But boy, do they have a schedule in front of them, and it's a little scary. But hopefully, the team can take this win as a positive, which of course any team would. But look at the good things that happened during the game. Look at Henry, getting his motor running. I think the lack of them playing him at all in the preseason kind of was a detriment, but then maybe a positive. Maybe he needed the rest from his injury, and they figured, hey, let's just keep him off the field. But now Henry's starting to get his motor, and I've never seen him catch that many passes in a game. I think he caught 4, maybe 5.
It was 5, career high.
Normally, he's not in the passing game, which I found really strange.
Yeah.
But in summary, I'm glad the Titans won. I'm looking forward to watching them compete in Indy next week. And I think we play them twice in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
And we got a bye coming up in a couple weeks, don't we?
Yeah. It's at Indy, at Washington, bye week, and then Indy at home. So it is a big stretch here. And Kevin, we appreciate the call. A lot of good stuff in there, as always. The Titans are in a position where they just have to find their game in the next few weeks because there's a lot of meaningful football games straight ahead. We'll take a break. We'll come back after this.